So this is my Coleman Road Trip 285 3-burner grill. I've had it for a couple of weeks now. I really love it. I've used it a couple of times and it's fantastic. Works super well. The only thing I don't like about it is that it uses, oh no, I don't actually usually store this in here. This is just convenient. It uses these, by default, these 1 pound propane tanks, and they just tuck up underneath here. There's a little fitting that you'll see in a bit. And unfortunately, these things have gotten really expensive lately, so I want a way around doing that. Now, in my unboxing video, I mentioned that my plan was to try to fit this so that I could just use it with 20-pound tanks, run it just off my trailer hookup, and somebody was kind enough to point out that this has a built-in regulator that won't allow that to happen. And I was at first a little incredulous, so I went and checked it out, and sure enough, underneath this here, built in, there is a regulator that's hooked right into the burners. It would be nigh impossible to do it unless you're some sort of a wicked pipe fitter or something like that, which I am not. So I am going to find a way around that. So let's take a look at how I can pull that off. All right, so in order to accomplish this, I have all of these fittings here, and I actually got all of this off Amazon just because it was an easy place to source out all the parts. Now, what I've got here, if I can undo the twist ties, is this. It's a 12-foot propane hose, and it goes from a 3/8 flare fitting to this 1/4-inch quick disconnect male piece. Onto that, I'm going to be putting on this. I want this to go to a female quick disconnect piece, but because it's this 1/4-inch NPT, I've got this 1/4-inch NPT to 3/8 flare fitting, and that's going to go into here and into there. And coming right off the grill itself, I've got this 1 pound propane fitting to a 3/8 flare. This actually came with the propane hose. However, I didn't want to, if I had wanted to, I could have just run this straight right from that grill to this hose and just easily click it into my trailer if I wanted. However, I don't want to have the hose attached directly to the grill all the time just for transportation and stuff. I think that might be a bit of a pain in the ass. So I'm going to be able to disconnect the hose because of this. Now I've also got a 1/4-inch quick disconnect here male with a 3/8 female flare fitting here. So this is going to go onto the grill. This is going to go, well, this will be the hose that I use to connect to the trailer. And of course I also just have some wrenches here just to kind of make everything a little bit easier. So step number 1 is going to be just putting on this these two fittings together here for the actual grill. I'm going to use these to hopefully make this process a little smoother and to get it nice and tight, just like that. All right, fitting number 1 ready. I'm going to set this aside, and it is then going to go onto the grill. Next, I'm going to try to drop everything. Next, I'm going to first attach this 1/4-inch NPT to 3/8 flare to the male to the female flare on this hose. And I'm just going to see the wrenches I need for that. Oh, nice and tight. And then next I've got this the actual quick disconnect for the 1/4-inch, and because it's got that NPT on it, I'm just going to take some of this seal tape, a little bit of this, it's dirty, I'm just going to tear that off, and holding like so, because I want it to wrap around this way, I'm going to have the tape like this, just so that it's nice and tight and doesn't try to come all undone on me. Now, I'll thread this on. Get it finger tight. Then, let's see here. Which one do I need? There we go. Doing my best to get my hands all in the way here to make it difficult to see. Let's tighten this up. That should be good. However, I have the right size wrench? Oh, I need 2 of these 9/8. Okay, I'm just going to grab another wrench and then quickly tighten this up a little bit further. That was nothing the little crescent wrench couldn't help me out with. Now, actually, one thing I realized after I put this on is that I do want to have one of these here. I bought some of these, where are we? Little plugs here. And after I had this on, there's no way that I'd be able to actually fit that on. So I'm just going to slide it over here. And now I will reconnect this flare fitting, just like so. And now I'm able to plug it just like this when it is not in use. I'll be adding a similar one onto here. Actually, that's going to be a rather loose fitting. I'm going to find a way just to kind of hold this on here a little bit better. And then both of these sides will be capped. So on this fitting here, I also added one of these little nice caps. And it's time to get this on here. And you need to apply a little bit of upward pressure with this fitting so that it starts to thread. I don't need any tape or anything like that on there. Perfect. And this, yeah, that shouldn't come off. Excellent. Just, ooh, smack my camera. Just like that. Moment of truth. Let's do this. My measurements should have been good. And yeah, we've got well over an inch clearance here on the unit before the ground, so no issues whatsoever. Beautiful. So now what I've done so far would work awesome for just hooking into my regular quick disconnect here that I use for my camping stove and for my propane fire pit when I need to use them on here. However, the trailer has a built-in regulator, and I don't want to double up on the regulators, or I'm not going to have nearly enough flow to actually run that grill. So the trick is I need to bypass this regulator. So my plan for that is to basically come right off of this pigtail here coming from my propane tanks, and I'm going to build a T into this with a quick disconnect that I'm then able to plug into for this camping grill, and then we'll carry on into the regulator. In order to bypass that, I've got a few things here, and this is going to make up the assembly that I install there. First of all, I've got this, I guess we'll have, this is a T fitting here, so it goes from, this is all 1/4 inch NPT. There are 2 female ends and then 1 male. I've got a 1/4 to 1/4 NPT fitting here. I've got, this was part of the issue, is that the pigtail has a male inverted flare. And so I'm needing to get around that because this whole thing, this T is NPT. So I've got this female inverted flare fitting to 1/4 inch NPT, which is just going to go into here. And then, it seems a little counterintuitive almost, I've got this 1/4 inch NPT to male inverted flare, which is going to go on here, basically allowing the pigtail just to connect through here just like it was initially. Then I've got, as I mentioned, this 1/4 to 1/4 NPT, which is going to go to this, so many fittings, 1/4 inch NPT to this quick disconnect valve here. So this is going to go onto the trailer right on the edge of the regulator, like, well, actually it'll be like this, plugging with the regulator on this side here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my gas seal tape right here, and let's go ahead and assemble. Now, by the way, I'm really hoping that this lines up nicely so that this valve either hangs down or slightly out, or maybe, technically, maybe even up in the air would be okay. I just want it so that it's not going to be hitting the trailer itself or set up in such a way. So I might need to kind of muck around with these fittings a little bit once I have them assembled, maybe rearranging the orientation, but I won't know until I've actually got it together. I could try just by assembling it, just by hand without the seal tape and go there and check it out, but once I add this tape, it might slightly impact how these fittings actually go together, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that quite yet. So let's just go ahead and, again, using that little trick for holding that seal tape, go around like so. I'm going to fire this onto here. All right, so that's on there nice and tight. Next, let's carry it on with, I messed up my tape a little bit. There we go. Just with a couple little layers of that tape there. We'll put on this adapter. Just like that. Okay, at this point, I think I'm going to go and see about getting this onto the regulator itself and just kind of see how it's going to fit on there. Just in case I need to rearrange these fittings, and I'd rather actually install this while it's on there. Actually, first I'll just quickly put this male to male on there, so I don't have to walk around unnecessarily. Come on now. Seal tape is not cooperating. There we go. All right, now to the trailer. All right, so for starters here, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this pigtail. This will be a little bit easier if my batteries are out of the way, but I'll survive. Okay, there we are. Clean that thread seal tape out of there. And now let's see about installing that. Okay, so I'm now ready to go ahead and install this. Now I don't need any kind of any of that sealant tape or anything like that because this is a flared fitting, so I'm just going to go ahead and thread it in. And I'm just crossing my fingers that this is going to line up half decently for what I want to do here. This probably would have been a little bit easier with, yeah, there we go. So it would have been maybe a little bit easier mucking around here if I didn't have my batteries in place. However, whatever. All right, now, so that's nice and tight. So I can go ahead and install my quick disconnect. I've already prepped this because this is just the NPT fitting. Threw a little bit of that gas seal tape on there. Now I'm just gonna, it's an awkward angle. There we go, got it started. And let us thread it on. Okay, there we go. I think that'll actually be really good. I like that this valve is kind of back here, out of the way, so I can just turn it off like so. Leave this capped when not in use. Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to pop that up there. Now it's time just to thread this pigtail back into here. And again, not using any tape because of the flare fitting. There we are. All right. So that seems to work quite nicely. I think it's time to see if this if this works. I'll get the gas going. I'm also just gonna go ahead and throw some soapy water on here just to ensure that we've got a good seal on all those joints. All right, get a little soap on that, a little water. And of course, camera's in the way of the propane. Get all those open. We'll see there's any sort of, yeah, no bubbles being formed, so that's a good, that is the sign that everything's nicely sealed up. Okay, well, I think it's time to test out the grill. After I did that, I actually went ahead and gave this a slight bit more of a rotation. That drops it down just a little bit, and it's going to make it really easy to go ahead and pop this quick disconnect in here. So when I go to do this, it's pretty easy. I'm just going to pop off this little cap. I'm going to take my hose. We're going to just plug it in like so. That's step one. And the second step is just to connect it like so. Beautiful. Then I'll just go ahead, open my propane. Then we'll make sure that that valve is open. Yeah, and I can hear it hiss to life. Hiss to life, and let's fire up. There we are. Oh yeah, and already heat blazing up at me. Beautiful. All right, let's test out the tailgating option. And so then one last step is actually prepping up this other line here so that if I'm just going to like a park or something like that and want to tailgate, I'm able to do so just using this propane to the 1 pound adapter hose. However, again, because I've got the quick disconnect on the actual grill, I'm going to go ahead and use, I bought this fitting that's going to adapt that to a 1/4 inch NPT and then get that onto a female quick disconnect. So once again, with my marvelous gas seal tape here, let's go ahead, wrap that. I'm going to get this into this quick disconnect. Get that nice and tight. Let's use the wrenches here. Oop. Do that. Feels like I'm juggling too many things all at once here. Okay, nice and tight. And now, this is just going to thread onto here, and you don't need to use any tape or anything like that, and these have like a built-in sealing ring there. A little tricky to get it on. You have to kind of push in tight. Hold this, thread this on. Yeah, so there we are. So now we'll just be able to use this with any sort of a propane tank. Just going to go ahead, thread it on. I don't think a 30-pound tank is generally the one that I would be bringing along with me to tailgating. However, it'll work for this. There we are. Open it up. Nice. And time to flame on. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. And once again, yeah, nice hot flame. Oh, super happy about this. Well, after sourcing out some parts and mucking around just a little bit, getting everything all set up, it was certainly not that difficult of a process to bypass the regulator setup on the trailer, get everything working so that I can use this off of quick disconnects, whether I'm camping or tailgating or at the park or whatever. So yeah, certainly took what was a bit of a disadvantage to this particular grill and took it to 11.